Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whatever time it is. I'm Adam Taylor. Welcome back. Special idea today for you all. You may or may not know, but I am a huge AC/DC fan. I, for a period of time, played guitar as the Angus in a band here in Mid-Ohio. We called ourselves Bon Scotch, but we delineated from the others by calling ourselves Mid-Ohio's Bon Scotch, and we played all Bon Scott era AC/DC. It was probably in 4th or 5th grade that I fell head over heels in love with AC/DC. They are, in my opinion, the best pure rock and roll band out there. This morning, I was looking in my YouTube feed and there was a video tribute to Macolm Young. And it really got me thinking about what Macolm Young really stood for, how important Macolm Young really was, and what his guitar playing really did for AC/DC. There would be no wonderful riffs in that band that we all know without Macolm Young. Macolm Young was the brains of the band. Macolm Young was the backbone of the band, dedicated solely to playing rhythm guitar and perfectly happy with it. Macolm Young decided early on that lead guitar was not something he wanted to do. Angus always said in interviews, Macolm can play a solo and do it better than me. He wasn't lying. On the 74 Jailbreak EP, those were unreleased songs in America that came off of the original High Voltage in Australia. Macolm Young plays a guitar solo in You Ain't Got a Hold on Me. He plays the intro solo in Show Business, and there's a solo at about the 2-minute 30-second mark that's his. Some random lead fills are his. And then in the song Soul Stripper, it's a guitar duel between Angus and Macolm. I'm sorry, Macolm and Angus, respectively. Begins with Macolm, goes back and forth to Angus. You can hear the different tone of the Gretsch. The Gretsch has a more trumpety mid-range tone than the SG, but so you have this capable guy that was perfectly happy to become the backbone and standing back. His riff work is so apparent on so many songs, but you have to understand, people think AC/DC is so easy, but to play it like AC/DC, Macolm Young had a very shimmery kind of tone, barely at the edge of breakup, and he played with a really heavy right hand. He played a lot of open chords. When you see AC/DC, you notice they do a lot of positional playing, chords out of the first 4 frets. If you see anybody doing like a power chord concerto, they're screwing up an AC/DC song. It used to drive me nuts when people would play Sin City and go, because it's not. All played out of the like the first 4 fret position, but I digress. All right, so some of my favorite riffs. What I've done, I don't unfortunately have a Gretsch. The closest thing I got in the arsenal right now that's going to cop that pure old tone is this 2020 Epiphone Les Paul Jr. with a single P90. Through my Behringer Vampire modeling amp here, I've got a 12AX 7 tube just to warm it up a little bit in the front of it, but let's play through some riffs here. This is probably my favorite riff on the High Voltage album. Now, one of the things that I like that Macolm did with that heavy right hand, he always overlaid an open A over top of the D chord, which is not correct. But it had such a spatial sound, so often you would hear him overlay that open A note with a D chord, and it was really unique to his playing. The intro of Livewire is. He built steam, started out with a really soft attack and just dug into it to get the amp to break up. Of course, the intro of TNT is. All Macolm, which is also similar to the Jailbreak intro, which was Macolm. Again, open A overlaid over the D chord. This is a cool riff off of the High Voltage album that was also a Macolm riff. Which was called She's Got Balls, and of course everybody knows. Again, those really hard-handed open chords or Problem Child. Classic Macolm. Big one that gets forgotten off of Let There Be Rock is which was called Overdose, and Angus, of course, much more dirty, overlays a really distorted B while Macolm doesn't. Alright, so Bad Boy Boogie, which you'll know off the Let There Be Rock album. Macolm's got some pretty cool guitar work behind Angus. The part that stands out to me that Macolm does is while Angus does it. Macolm, of course, catches like a half C. So that's another one that I think this just his little nuances made all the difference in the world. Of course, you got Rock and Roll Damnation off of Powerage. Angus in Riff Raff. Most classic, iconic Macolm riff ever, If You Want Blood. And then in Beating Around the Bush, while Angus does like a Macolm, of course, less distorted. Stays in the low register of the E. Love Hungry Man was another one that, let's see. Adding the thumb for the F sharp over but not least, the final song of Highway to Hell. Absolutely shimmering full chord. So this is my little tribute to Macolm Young here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. My name's Adam Taylor. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to get better at putting out content. I'm going to build my content. I'm going to progress and make this channel something great for you all to enjoy. Thank you.